Before I start my presentation, I just will want to have a moment of silence for the people in Guatemala that died because of the volcanic eruption, volcanic fuego. So just one moment of silence. Thank you. So, thank you. And my presentation title is Mayan Traditional Ecological Knowledge and Wetland Restoration in Lake Atitlan. Yeah, my name is Jorge Garcia Polo, and I am a PhD student in my second year, and my main professor is Stuart Limon in the State University of New York, College of Environmental Science and Forestry, or SUNY ESF. Okay, I'll try to do this. So here you can see the location of Guatemala, and the Lake Atitlan is 150 kilometers from Guatemala City. Here the geomorphology of the watershed. So you can see the volcanic area in the south, and in the highlands, like the highlands in the north of the volcano. So then the question is like, why is this watershed, this lake watershed important? And here I will say like it's because of both biological and cultural diversity. However, this lake is facing many problems, environmental problems, like water pollution, eutrophication, and wetland loss. And here I will talk a little more about this problem. Like you can see the picture in 2002. You can see the marshes around the shoreline. And here is 2015, no marshes, anything there. So this definitely affects the fish and the fishermen.
Well, the humans have certainly
affects the fish and the fishermen, and affects also the people with the tradition of thousands of years of making crafts with the wetland plants. What plants are we talking? Mainly, we have the one name in Spanish is tul. But there are two species usually in this group, like Typha domingensis and Schenoplectus californicus. But in the results, you will see like mostly the answers or the information is related with Schenoplectus californicus. Here I'm showing the names. Here you can see the names in Maya. This is Mayan Tzutujil, and this Tzok and Chukup are two names for these plants. So that means the connection of in the language and the connection of the peoples with the plant. So what is TEK? So TEK is this knowledge of, as I mentioned before, the knowledge of the lake, of the plants, of the fish, of the animals, from generation to generation in thousands of years. So Mayan people have been in the area for more than 2,000 years. And also some other work have used or presented, documented the importance of Mayan TEK for the management, environmental management and environmental problems, the solution of environmental problems. So in the case of the TEK as guide for wetland restoration, has been shown to be a little attention in research, so that's kind of the focus of my work. So here, like in focusing in Mayan TEK, so I want to, the main question is how these three Tzutujil communities surrounding Lake Atitlan consider wetland plant use, degradation, restoration in the daily management. So the methods. So mainly so this is again the study site. So as I mentioned, I selected the Tzutujil-speaking communities in the south. The north is mostly Cattail communities. So these are the three sites: San Pablo, San Juan, and Santiago Atitlan are the study sites. And data collection, I did interviews, and each interview about 8 to 9 questions each. And it took from 20 to 50 minutes, depending. It's all the challenge when you go to the field with working with people. So it was different times for each interview. So then the process of the qualitative framework, I transcribe and translate all the interviews and listen to the recordings. And then after having these transcriptions, I start doing the process of coding using the software Atlas DA. So in total, 407 sentences or paragraphs were coded with 83 codes. And then I clustered these codes in 10 groups. So here are those groups. Okay, this is the top 10 codes of the work in the interviews. And you can see the first is handicrafts with 49 citations, and planting is with 38 citations or sentences that the interviewee responded with these ideas. So here is the code groups: management and restoration, ecosystem services, human values, environmental drivers, biodiversity, environmental impacts, language, restoration need, tool conditions, and other emerging codes in the process. So then all these different groups of codes, I define the themes, uses, environmental impacts, and restoration of the wetland plants. So this is kind of the qualitative research process I did. And in this idea, I represent some of the explanations of the results for each community. So first is Santiago Atitlan. They identify themselves as the committee of tuleros or harvesters, and they are mainly farmers. So for this reason, their motivation is mainly the wetland plants or tool as a handicraft material, also for food, like a source of food, and for the lake. So they have this idea of they are working the wetland because of the lake, because they take care of the lake, because filters garbage, produce oxygen for the animals, and also is a habitat. So it's like taking care of the lake. So they also explain the tradition of working with the tool. Like one individual is the president of this committee, and he explained since 8 years old, he's been working in the lake with the tool and having this learning the process from his father. So one important also explanation was this part, rescuing the tool. So this means when the water goes up and the plants are under the water, they take the plants and take it to the shorelands. And also if the water go down, they take the plants outside and they take them into the water. So it's this kind of, they are taking care in this way of the plant. And they say they will keep planting because it's their job with the lake. And the other community is San Juan, and the association is Pescadores Artesanales, Tzutujil-speaking. That means traditional fishermen, guardians of the sedge. So they are taking care of the sedge. And they are mainly fishermen, so for this reason their motivation is mainly, of course, the fish, the income from the fish. And they are also concerned of this problem of losing the wetlands, so they are working in this restoration and planting, but they still, as they mentioned here, they still need help, and they have places that they themselves cannot restore themselves because it takes effort and time. But here, the other community, San Pablo, it's like a group of artisans, and the name is Chupuphay, I mean the house of the sedge. And the main focus or the main motivation with the wetland plant is the handicrafts. So a material for making these traditional handicrafts that they also learn from their parents and the parents of their parents. And you can see here, this is some examples of the handicrafts. Like you can see like a fan, but it's kind of a fan. But the idea is like if you want to start a fire, you start the fire and then you use that's a fan, so you can make a fire. that's the use, and it's very common in many places in Guatemala. With plastic, we are losing a little bit of these uses of this traditional handicraft. So in the case of this community, they really mention the process of losing the wetland completely because of storms and these hurricanes. So they lost completely the wetland. So they are in this process of, they are not making the restoration because they lost the plants. So for this reason, like they really need, they mentioned like the main need they have for restoring the wetlands is obtain the plants they lost completely. So that's the main objective. The knowledge they have parents there that they used to take care of the plants, but they completely, because it's this natural problem, they lost completely. So here I want to summarize like these ideas of the management and restoration they are doing in the lake. So you can see again the codes, but the idea is like not to simplify the knowledge of the Mayan communities there. Is the opposite. The idea is to see the differences between the motivations and the practices they have with the lake, with the land, in this case with the wetland. And for this reason, like each community must be involved in the process of the lake and the land and the wetland management and policy and more. So implications will be like, instead of using different approach like this, have a more holistic framework and having a TEK as a center to guide the restoration of the wetland. So this holistic framework, ecological and biocultural restoration of the Lake Atitlan, will be an example of how to link traditional knowledge and science and management in Guatemala and Mesoamerica and elsewhere with indigenous communities. So this is mainly my presentation, so I don't know if you have any questions. ESF and Fulbright for supporting the.
We have time for a few questions.
Will it happen because they're interested, or will someone have to make them do it?
Sorry, what is that?
How will this take place? Who is going to make it happen?
Okay, no, yeah, actually they are in the. Okay, the idea that I feel, actually I'm sending the message, like they are doing this and they will keep doing it. So the part of the taking care of the wetland, but the problems that they have, they will need support. So if you say like who is doing, like the process is the continuation of my work, like doing the other approaches. Like the economic approach and traditional ecological knowledge in a participatory appraisal. So I don't know if I'm answering clearly.
I think the other parts of it, yeah. Who's going to do the other parts of it, or if there's just more.
It sounds like it's going to cost money, and it's probably not yours.
Okay. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
I want to thank all of the speakers in today's session. I was so impressed by all your work. It was really fantastic. I remind everybody we have SEB business meeting at 5 o'clock. If you're not a member but you want to find out more, this is a great place to go. You learn about our upcoming meetings. In 2 years we will be in Jamaica, so come check it out. And then tonight there's also special film events. It's a story about Lucy Braun, and our own incoming president, Sunshine Rosie, actually has a little cameo in this recreation story. So that's also tonight at 7:30. So thank you all.
Thank you.
You did such a good job. I was really like tell you there's like a in the middle.
Thank you. I was like, I forgot to say, I'm all like, I forgot to say that I dropped a specimen, like all the things you just assume, you know? I was like, oh, actually, not to be food.